S&M. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the S&M Podcast Show. I'm your host, Ricky Romance, where your subject matters. And today, our subject is going to be about someone who loves to inspire, who is a teacher, and who also really just wants to help people in a positive way. Welcome, everyone. Miss Colleen Marie. Welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it very much.
Great. I appreciate you taking your time out of your day and spending at least an hour with me and talking about you, what you do. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
I thought it was pretty interesting how you reached out to me, right? So I guess I want to just turn it real quick back to
Okay.
you.
All right.
And maybe you can share with your audience why you reached out to me, right? What was it that had you do
that? Well, I just don't reach out to just anyone. I'm not just trying to have anyone on the show with, not saying that they don't have a purpose, but my purpose is to share with everyone other people who have a common goal, which is to inspire, right? To project positivity out to everyone else who may need that positiveness in their lives, because there's so much negative obstacles, auras, just those feelings that we have nowadays with COVID, with everything that's been going on the past year. I felt like I needed to reach out to you and just kind of share with everyone what they can do individually to help themselves grow into someone that they can be proud of. And I thought, you know what, this person, Colleen Marie, I think she would be perfect on the S&M Podcast Show. The worst thing that can happen is that person says no, right? So I was like, hey, here we go. Then we just, kind of contact her and see what happens. If she says no, fine, that's cool. I'll move on and try to find someone else. But you said yes. We're here. Here we go.
Goosebumps when you said that. You gave me goosebumps. So the best advice that my mom ever gave me was ask, because the worst somebody can do is say no, and a lot of times that's not the worst. A lot of times that's just an opportunity to go someplace else or meet somebody else, just like you said. So we're definitely kindred spirits from that perspective. I'm grateful for you reaching out. Your intuition is pretty cool.
Appreciate it.
I enjoy that a lot. So yeah, I guess a little bit about me. I'm one of 6 kids. I'm the youngest. I liken my upbringing to Brady Bunch without Alice the Maid meets Sopranos meets Seinfeld and meets Modern Family. So you
that's a
get
twist.
A good feel for
right.
The things that I experienced from a very young child up until now. Relative to what I do, for almost 30 years, I built high-performing teams. I was a part of high-performing teams. I built high-performing strategic partnerships for the high-tech industry for companies like Cisco Systems, Siemens, with partners and clients such as Accenture and IBM and AT&T and Verizon, and all the beautiful mutual clients that all of those companies serve together across industries. So over the years, putting together solutions around collaboration tools way before it became cool, like in the year of 2020, because it was a necessity. I was fortunate enough to be a part of companies and teams that brought solutions to the table that were intended to increase reach, effectiveness, scalability, and so on and so forth. In 2010, I started to be pulled away from that environment. Things started to happen that showed me that wasn't an environment I was intended to remain in. And literally, I looked up and I said, use me, regardless of what people's beliefs are, God, spirit, universe, source. And intuition was born. You see the intuition logo behind me here. And it was born because I was led that single caregivers and their families really needed a hand up
Uh-huh.
and not a hand out in life. So a 501c3 organization was born with services and solutions that afforded the single caregiver community and their families that type of support. And that was almost 10 years ago that When Tuition was born. During that time, I also went through quite a few different transitions with myself personally in my growth, and transitions and changes and things in my life. So experiencing divorce myself
Mm.
After 22 years of marriage, displacing a 90-year-old father-in-law that I had invited to come and live with us 21 years prior to that, who wasn't of the greatest of health. So lots of different pressures and stresses and things that I was working through in my life during that time frame. And fast forward to 2020, COVID happens,
Ah.
and uh, and where I was, still dipping my toe in doing consulting or works within the corporate structure. Um, I just was being called and being led again to a higher power, a higher purpose, and focused outcomes was born. And focused outcomes is an organization that is a for-profit business that focuses with leaders. And a leader could be a leader of a family, a leader
Mm-hmm.
of a community, a leader of a cause, a leader of a business. Because with leadership brings much power and it brings much stress. And the unfortunate thing is, stress is our silent killer because of where our society is in focus, right? We're so
Mm-hmm.
focused on what we look like on the outside,
Right.
right? Um, we have not been as focused as we need to on what's really going on our insides. And I had way too many friends and family members and former colleagues dying at way too young ages, just
Wow.
like that. And they looked perfectly fine on the outside. So again, I look up and I ask, and focused outcomes is born. And I'm also told to continue with intuition, and focused outcomes is very similar to how we have served the single caregiver community and their families, with very similar solutions and services for the leadership community, with a little bit of a twist, because I was also led to go back to school and gain some additional learnings as a student and certifications. So I personally am a master practitioner of timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, as well as NLP. And
Okay.
with all of those things, um, it really afforded me the opportunity to enhance the types of services and solutions that were being offered to intuition, and now bring that in to focused outcomes. And then on top of that, as I'm going through the certification training, I was also led to purchase a 5.5 acre property with a structure, and you're seeing that. And this property is in a business, and it's called Seldom Seen Sanctuary.
Okay.
And if
Triple
you,
S.
yeah, if you, I don't like to say that just
Yeah.
because of then programming and negative connotations that brings. So it truly is a sanctuary, seldom seen sanctuary. If you think of a picture of a pyramid, right? The foundation
Mm-hmm.
is the sanctuary, the place. And the sanctuary is a place where people come to disconnect, to be supported, to reconnect. Um, Most come on a one-on-one basis. People I'm personally serving in Wintuition as well as focused outcomes. However, it's also a place where membership can be purchased for either families or businesses, where they simply need an hour or two, or a half a day, or a full day to disconnect from the environment that they're in and come and be supported in specific outcomes that they're seeking in their life, regardless of what age they are. Anywhere from cognitive, you know, 3.5-year-old all the way up to our eldest client was a 95-year-old World War II vet
Wow.
who didn't want to go on anxiety medication. So he got a doctor's referral um, to come here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool the things that are coming out of the sanctuary, the workshops that are being developed under the proactive empowerment programs. And there's 8 of them, and they're designed very specifically. The number one is relationships,
Very important.
right?
Yes.
Yes. And the first relationship is relationship with self, because we can't do anything for anybody else in
No.
an optimal state if we're not optimal ourselves, right? Um,
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's like if you can't, excuse me, if you don't like yourself or if you don't love yourself, how do you expect to love or like anyone else? You have to help yourself first in order to help others. So you have to work and break down what needs to be broken down, build yourself back up to the person who you're meant to be in this world, in this life, in order to branch out and be of service, if at all.
and I mean,
Yeah.
you're so spot on with that, because what we found from the caregivers. Think about it, right? A caregiver is a totally different kind of DNA. Somebody that just gets their cup filled with caring for others, whether it's children, whether it's special needs, whether it's our elders. Okay?
Right.
What's the first thing that caregivers don't do? And again, we have a proven track record with all of this. They don't put themselves first,
Right. Because
right?
they're always, yeah, taking care of everyone else. And then they kind of go on I don't know what it's, well, let's just put it this way. It's neglect to themselves because they're putting everyone else first, but then they start to tear and wear down because they're being kind of pushed to their limit to how much they can do without realizing, hey, let me take a step back. I see that I'm getting burned out. Let me relax, de-stress, and then, come to a better place and then reset, right? I have to do that myself almost, I don't know, once a week
Yeah.
to really push forward because if you don't, you just can't function. I know I won't be able to function if I just don't de-stress and kind of push that reset button, start from scratch all over again and not have to dwell on the past. So what happened the day before, the week before, last month, what somebody said to me, because then you're not going to be able to move forward to the future and be better.
Right. And that's what focused outcomes was designed to do, to provide the right resource at the right time for the outcome that the individual is seeking. Because often we don't ask, right? We don't have the right resources around us. We have, we may have family or friends that think they know what's best for us. However,
Always.
yes. However, they're not going through exactly what we're going through right now in our lives, and nor have they had the types of experiences that we've had. I can give an example. The best person to support me through some particular storms was somebody that could relate with being uh, gang raped, sexually molested when they were pretty much a toddler, 4.5. That's what happened to me.
Hmm.
So somebody really can't support me through that that's never been through that, right?
Sorry to hear that, first of all. I mean, nobody should ever have to go through any traumatization as you, or I mean, there's so many people in this world who's been through so much, something similar, but it's always different for that person. It never happens the same twice. Um, Not one person can actually feel exactly how you felt or have gone and experience exactly what one person's felt. But just to hear that, it really concerns me. And you don't go around living life thinking about bad things happening to people until you hear about it from somebody else, and then it becomes almost personal. Um, and it just, it's sad. I mean, there's so many things in this world that people do. I mean, we're human, but it's no excuse for anyone to physically, emotionally, mentally hurt someone.
Yeah. So I resonate a lot with everything that you're saying. And the really interesting part is, you know, once I found the way to pull that up, right? Because when those types of things happen to people, any type of trauma, and trauma doesn't have to be to that extreme.
Mm,
Trauma could just be a father saying to a 6-year-old, "You're a lazy sack of shit," right? And not thinking of the ramifications of those words that are being used in that child, and then wondering why that child is now a 20 something year old, not very confident young man. Um, Simple things like that. So, a big part of me and what I do is to support people so that they can understand, first of all, where those things are that are not serving them or the people that they know and love around them, right?
right.
And how they can then place it in the past and move toward their true authentic self and them not being something that they think others want them to be, need them to be. Because, I'm a walking testament of that myself, growing up in a generation where, especially being a woman, um, I was more programmed to be a man because, I was supposed to go and get the education and be in business and not, stay home and have babies and all of that stuff. And I love the fact that I have had so many teachers and opportunities to learn how to embrace who I really am and to delayer a lot of those traumatic things that did transpire. A cool part was a self mission trip down to Peru. And in doing that self mission trip is when a lot of those traumas came up because it wasn't just that instance. There was other sexual things that had transpired through my life, since that time. And I saw the incident. It was like I had an out of body experience where I was looking down on all these kids that were standing around in this circle, and I saw what was happening to them, to why they were doing what they were doing. And all I felt was pure, unconditional love for
Mm,
them because that is what they were not getting
right.
at all. So it's so important. Words are important. Actions or inactions are so important in what we do, how we do it, what we say around our children, right? Our children,
Right.
our grandchildren, our great grandchildren, which I have 11 great grandchildren
Wow.
by marriage, and it's a beautiful place to be. So yeah, thank you for asking a little bit about me, my story, and where I'm at, and what's going on, and my vision for how we can proactively assist people that are ready, that are seeking, and not have to wait until something is in such a disarray state, where sometimes there can be a point of no return, where you have labels applied to people and they get called addicts, or they get called alcoholics, or they
Right.
get called adulterous, or they get called, and so on and so on and so on. So yeah.
Wow. I mean, your story is amazing. Thank you for sharing that with everyone, um, because it's hard. Not very many people would like to share their personal traumas that they've been through in their lives, because it's they I mean they just hold it in, and it just kind of builds up, and it sometimes people who hold things like that in really aren't functioning correctly, overall as an individual, as a person in society. And I just want to thank you for sharing that. I know it must have been hard, but I mean, you are where you are today because of your experiences, right? Good or bad. Just like how I am where I am today through my experiences. Granted, I've had pretty rough times, right? Growing up in New York City, didn't have the best home, to where I am now, living in California. Because I've always told myself, if I had the opportunity to leave New York City, I'll do it. And I did. And 9/11 was terrible when it happened, 2001. Um, but I don't know if 9/11 didn't happen, I don't think I would have joined the military, if that makes sense.
It makes sense to you, sure.
Because I wanted to do something and serve my country because of what happened. I was hurt by it. It was my own city that got, it did happen elsewhere too, but it kind of hits you the most when it's at home and when you're there and when you see it. Like, I actually saw the plane, one of them, hit the twin towers as I was walking to the subway in Manhattan. Right
Mm-hmm.
from where I live, you could see the two towers,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm walking. I got my my music going, and I got to go to school, high school, and I'm in my last year. I'm in drama class. I only have one class, so I'm just taking my time. It's a beautiful day, and then I'm like, oh, I look up. What is that? Okay, what is that pilot doing? Like, I mean, what's going on? Can they not see the building? Are they blind, or did they have a heart attack? And when you find out it was intentional, it wasn't an accident, you're like, wow. And nothing has ever happened before then at home. We're not used to, we weren't used to having terrorist attacks or other countries attacking us at home. We're so used to going over there, waging war with other countries, but we've never had anything happen here in so long. So that hit home to me. So with that being said, that inspired me to that event. That tragic event inspired me to join the military and see the world, and ultimately ended up here in California, where now I just, got married, have kids, settled down, and now just trying to just grow and transition from the person I was yesterday to who I can be today, and then kind of use that to where I can grow each and every day into something better and better, and not just stay one person in one area. We all have to evolve and adapt to every situation, because just like how you're alive one day, the next day you might not be.
That's right. I mean, we're not guaranteed the next moment,
No.
and how we handle the boulders, the storms. I mean, the tagline for Wind Tuition is inspiration in the storm, because, and we all will have storms in our lives. That is
Yes.
for sure. It's how are we equipped to work through those storms? And that's the whole preface of intuition, of focused outcomes. When you have the right resource at the right time to assist you through that storm, the storm damage is less. And therefore, now you are prepared because somebody assisted you through that storm to assist somebody else through a storm based off of your storm experience. That's, I believe, the whole cycle of our human existence,
Right.
on this planet, in just such a big way. Everything happens, and a lot of people may not want to um, think about it that way. Especially, you know, I've never lost a child, nor do I ever want to be in that club. Unfortunately,
No.
I have quite a few family members and friends and former colleagues that have. And when they hear something like this statement, everything happens with purpose, anger a lot of times may rage depending upon the person. Uh, I am in the belief that when storms come, the best question we can ask ourselves is, why is this happening for me? Not, why is this happening to
To
me?
me.
Because there's a huge difference in what you get if and when you're really listening to the answer of the question that you've asked, right? Why is
Right.
this happening for me? What am I to learn from this situation, from this experience, so that I can authentically take my responsibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
Share. And that's another part series that will be coming out, called Lessons Are Lessons. And the R is capitalized and backwards because often most of us do not see a lesson that we're learning as a blessing at the time it's happening.
Wow. That
Not,
means you have to come back so we could do a part two and discuss that.
there you go. There you go. That'd be awesome. I'd be honored. I'd be
All
honored.
right.
And I look forward to interviewing you
Oh,
on
okay.
the Lessons Are Blessings show that will be broadcast on the New You Network pretty soon too.
Well, you know how to get a hold of me, so let's talk afterwards. But yeah, I wanted to kind of mention something. Win tuition, right? In it to win tuition. I like that. Um, for me, I've grown up having these feelings, right? I get certain feelings from individuals when I talk to them. Sometimes I can figure the person out as far as who they are, who they try to be, as far as in the moment, what they're feeling, negative vibes, positive vibes. Uh, and that's called someone who's an empath, right? I don't know if you know
Yeah,
anything about that.
I do. There's labels
Yeah.
for everything in our world. You just have a really good sense of a lot of different things, and you're in touch with it.
Yeah. So sometimes you have to decipher what your feelings are and what the other person's feelings are, because sometimes it can transfer through you, and you could come in being so happy that day, like, yeah, I'm ready to go, ready to get this week over with. I'm gonna rule the day, and then all of a sudden you got that one person walking in the office who's mad at the world, right? And I'll just get that feeling like, oh, and then it'll kind of stick with me the rest of the day, and I'm grumpy, and I'm like, oh, don't talk to me, blah blah blah. Then I have to, like, well, that's not me. That's not how I started my day. There's no reason for me to be angry or upset. And then I would have to kind of do that 180, right? Just switch it around and just kind of forget about it. And um, but that's the reason why I'm bringing that up is because there was a certain feeling I got about you just looking at your profile, reading what you were about, just that a little bit. And then when I saw the Wintuition Foundation, it kind of clicked, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, might not be a bad idea. Let me go ahead and reach out to Colleen, see what happens, see what she says, and then boom, we're here.
Yes, yes, thank you.
So, what do you have that's coming up soon besides what you just mentioned that you have going on right now, or what's to come next?
If you are a single caregiver with children or special needs or elderly that you care for, reach out. Often caregivers think somebody else deserves support more than they do
Mm-hmm.
as a caregiver. They would go to wintuition.org
Okay.
to sign up, and that's WIN, the number 2, ITION.org. There's always opportunities for people that have been through different types of storms to become advisors. An advisor is somebody that has a life skill or a life experience that they could assist somebody with. So their information goes into a database. And when we need them to support, they'll be called upon by the recipient's advocate, working with them to design the plan with the recipient on how to overcome the top 3 areas of stress in their life. If you feel called to be a partner is somebody that has a product or a service that is holistic, homeopathic, naturopathic in nature, then you would go to the site and sign up. Sponsorship, there's always sponsorship that's needed for the single caregiver and their children. If you're interested in signing up for sponsorships. So all of those opportunities exist. Of course, because we are a 501c3, donations are always welcomed, especially the kind where people donate on a monthly basis, reoccurring. That way, the energy that's put into the cause and the purpose of us being here
Mm-hmm.
isn't going out and doing fundraising, isn't going out and figuring out how money will be found for things that need to be done. Yeah, and Wintuition actually stands for the intuition to have all parties win at life together, because we are not meant to do it alone. So from a Wintuition perspective, there's lots of different workshops that are designed, some remote that can be done via Zoom with
Nice.
partners,
Okay.
and some here at the sanctuary, which is located in the Canton, Georgia area. And those are available on the website, the schedules of things that are done. Yeah, so that's Wintuition. And as far as leaders are concerned, anybody that is in a leadership role, whether you are a CEO of a Fortune 100 organization, a board member, all the way to you're the leader of your family and you happen to be the face receptionist when somebody walks in the door of the business that you are representing, their brand, or you're an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur and you feel like you might be on an island and you're looking for business support and advisement, and you want to make sure that you're getting the right resource at the right time for the outcomes you're seeking. You would go to focused-outcomes.com and book your screening appointment. There you go.
There you go. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to reach out at one point or another, and we'll talk more. I'm sure we will. I would like to keep updated as far as the events and everything that you have going on, workshops, that kind of thing. I like what you're doing. It's very interesting, and that, like what you do. I mean, I wish there was more of it around the, you know, the United States. I mean, there might be. I'm not sure, but there's only one Win It tuition. So, and that's you. Uh, and yeah, I
Do
mean
you
that.
want in on a little secret?
Go ahead, tell me.
Um, so at present, I am working with a former Fortune 150 CEO who now turned
Okay.
angel investor and VC. And the goal is to franchise what we're doing here. So to create multiple sanctuaries across the country. And my personal goal, should God, the universe, source want this to happen,
Right.
um, is before I no longer am here, that there are at least 33 franchises. So
Is there a reason behind that number 33? Because 33 means something. It means a lot to people.
yeah, it means a lot to me. It
Right.
means a lot to me.
Okay.
Yeah. So 33 is also a good number
Mm-hmm.
because having a balanced life for me is extremely important. I could have had a goal of 333 locations.
Right.
However, I also want to have that balanced life that I so often share with others and teach with others the importance of it, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I have to be mindful myself as to how much of my energy is going toward these variety of things in people and not lose sight of what I need to help myself grow and be fulfilled and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's the reason for the 33.
That is wonderful. That's amazing. I like that. So what's the time frame you think, or what would you like to, like, how long would you like that to progress, for how many years, from the start, from when it starts to the 33rd, from number 1 all the way to 33? Like, how long you think that's going to take? Do you think there's probably be
12 years. 12 years.
12 years? Okay. That's not bad. It's not bad. I think that's realistic. Yeah.
And when the proper social good investors um, are a part of the energy that's being put in toward these creations, um, come, it may be increased time wise as well. Um, you know, to whom much is given, much is expected. Now, you can reverse that statement and say, don't be attached to
Hmm.
expectations, right? Don't put expectations on others. I believe in my heart of hearts that there is there's so much money out there, and money is not a bad thing. Money is a means, is a way to create these types of things that we're talking about today, right?
Right.
When you have money, you can do these types of things without having to rely upon others. However, bringing in the right type of energy can also enhance and have it morph and grow into something that is maybe even 12 times more amazing and more fantastic than what I even originally envisioned as the baseline. And
Right.
we're very close right now with the 8 proactive empowerment programs that we're also trademarking, that those are the baseline programs that would be implemented for any sanctuary And intuition would always be the foundation, the 501c3, and then focused outcomes would always be the revenue generator into this entire environment
I
to
see that.
allow it to be self-sustainable.
So it has to be balanced equally.
Exactly.
They balance each other out pretty much. Yeah, like a scale. Yep.
Got
Okay.
it.
I'm a Libra,
Got it.
so that's why I get it.
I was going to ask you. Funny.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah, that's good. I mean, you really you I mean, the only way that you become successful and you are successful is because you really think things through and you're educated and you know what you're doing and you know what you want and you're a visionary. And you have to what visionaries do, they vision what they want and they map it out, they draw it out, do whatever they need to do, get all the right people in there involved, and just pretty much just say, okay, here's what it is. Here's what it is we need to do. This is how we do it. Now let's get it done, put it into motion, see the wheels rolling, and then just watch it just magically appear over time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I'm not sure that, I don't believe that things happen in a magical kind of way. However, if you are in the flow
Yeah.
and you're serving your purpose, for sure, because this vision is not just mine, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
It's coming from a totally different place in space. Some people call it God, Jesus, some people call it source, some people call it universal power, whatever it is. It's I'm being led to do these things because um, they're needed, right? And
Yes.
in their need, the things, the results that are shown, that are seen from the people that go through this environment and that process is just a beautiful thing. And the seeds that are planted and how all of those grow as well as offshoots. 99% of the recipients that we have served in intuition have asked after we're done with how they can help. And it's like, go to the website and fill out the form on how you feel called, to help.
Yeah.
What can you help with? What skill, what life experience do you have? Put it in there. You can be an advisor. You're an advocate. You can take a new recipient coming in and be their overall advocate with them, because nothing we're not doing anything to anybody or
Uh
for
huh.
anybody. We're doing it with, right?
Together. Yes.
Together, absolutely.
Now.
That's why the number two is in the logo as well. Wintuition.
Right. It
Intuition.
takes two, at least. Um, so when somebody wants to get involved in that way where you just described it, um, it doesn't have to be like the two you mentioned together physically in the same room. It could be two virtually as well, right? Okay.
We've served people in the UK, we've served people in Canada, we've served people all around the US and some in South America as well. You don't have to be physically aligned to be able to support, right? In some instances, the physical representation of an advisor or partner must be there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we work on those setting up those partnerships that are needed in the physical location to where those folks actually reside also.
Wow. So there's no limit essentially. I mean, you know,
If you
which
look at
is
the word,
great.
yeah, look at the word impossible,
Uh huh. I think I've
right?
heard about that word before, but I tend not to think about that because everything is
No,
possible.
no,
So
no. Break it in two. Break it in two.
I'm
Because
possible.
exactly.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, I appreciate you breaking it down for me, right? Literally, I'm possible. Boom. M and the P separated. Okay, cool.
Well, and
Um,
words are really, really, really powerful. The more we
yeah.
really think about what
Hmm.
we're about to put out there with our energy, the better. There's a couple of words I want to remove from our lexicon and the dictionary. The number one word is try, because you can take something in this hand and this hand, and I can say, try to move that pen from one hand to the other. But when I say move that pen from one hand to the other, what resonates with somebody in their mind is totally different.
Yes. Now,
Totally.
when you just said that, like, obviously I can move the pen from one hand to the other, but it kind of just that split second, right? When you said try, that second guessing just happens
Exactly.
just like that without you even realizing it, and you're thinking to yourself, self, why am I thinking about even trying to do it? I know I can do it. What are you doing? Come on, wake up.
There's
Yeah,
actually there's one word that you used, and if you would allow me, would you allow me to just share some feedback?
sure.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So you use the word hard a couple of times, and we can either have it be hard or we can be easy.
Yeah, okay.
Which one feels better, right? Because think about it.
Easy.
My parents' generation, they were brought up to believe you work hard, right? That's the only way that you're going to get ahead. You work hard. And I call BS on that. Uh, you work, right? You
Yeah.
work toward something. You work for something. You work toward it, right? It doesn't have to be hard. Now, will there be things that you'll learn along the way? Absolutely, positively. And when you have an optimal mindset, the way you are able to work through those things are amazing. That's it.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. Um, and I just don't. You don't think about things like that. You're brought up a certain way from very young, and it becomes a part of you. It's like your normal way of thinking without having it. You know, it doesn't need to be normal. It doesn't need to be a normal thing. Make that normal and abnormal, right?
What is normal?
There
Somebody,
isn't there
somebody
isn't a such
else,
thing. Yeah, it's
well,
just
and somebody
perception. Perception. That's it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm. Somebody else's normal has nothing to do with your normal or your authentic state. And, once we all learn to not compare ourselves or not put our expectations on others, regardless, um, you know, accept people for exactly who they are and what stage and phase they're in. And that's not putting anybody that has like found the comfort level with being their authentic self any higher or lower or lateral to
Mm,
somebody that may not know that yet either, right? With
right.
compassion, compassion, and to recognize. I mean, every single day, multiple times a day, I learn a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. I learn a lot of stuff about me. Um, Last example I'll give is, stopping and seeing somebody begging for money
Mm,
at a light, and this was probably, I don't know, 6 years ago, and my former father-in-law was in the passenger seat. And when I looked out, the first thing I did was I locked my doors, right?
mm-hmm.
And then I sat and I said to myself, why did I just do that? Right? Why did I lock my doors? What was going on in my mind? What is associated with, right? The things I see on the news of being carjacked and all of this stuff going on. And then I just went, oh, that's why I did that. And I said, no, that is not me. That is not the person that I am. So I
Mm-hmm.
rolled my window down and I gave the gentleman there everything that I had in the vehicle. Plus, I asked my father-in-law what he had in his wallet, and I just did it, right? Because so often, we're programmed to think that person they could go get a job, or, they could be doing this, they could be doing that. But we haven't walked in anybody else's shoes, right? We have no idea where they've been, where they are, where they want to be, until we actually spend quality time really getting to know them, and them feeling safe with us, in a safe place where we are compassionate, where we're not judgmental, and where we're simply holding space to support them through whatever it is they're going through. So yeah, I love what you're doing. Keep on doing it.
Thank you.
And I'm grateful that we've met.
Oh, I am too. And you keep on doing what you're doing. You're doing great things. I'm glad that we could connect. And I just know that this isn't it. I know we'll hopefully collaborate on some other things. And I would love to be a guest on your show whenever you're up to it. Let me know and we'll get that set up.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Colleen Marie, everybody. Give her a hand. I hope you enjoyed this episode. She really, really put out so many wonderful things and valuable information. I will be putting those links for everyone to check out her websites, Wintuition, and the other one is, again, Colleen, I'm sorry?
It's focus-outcomes.com. And
Okay.
the Seldom Seen Sanctuary website is in the process of being built, but it already has a URL, seldomseen.space.
Okay, and I'll make sure to have that available for everyone below the description, so they can go ahead and check that out and hopefully get in contact with you. So, all right, thanks again. I am Ricky Romance, your host of the S&M Podcast Show, where your subject matters, and certainly today this subject mattered. Thanks again, Colleen Marie.